Hello, and welcome to the first in many going to be online videos starting this week. Because we have canceled face-to-face classes, we are going to do all of our lecture content asynchronously and through online videos. This is the first of them. Today, we're going to talk about Chapter 13. Chapter 13 is all about supply chain management and supply chain integration. When you think about supply chain, and I'm going to use this a lot as an example, think about Amazon. They're excellent at it. Think about Walmart. They're excellent at it too. This video is going to be really broken up into three parts. The first part is going to be the introduction and my piece. I'm going to do slides 1 through 15. Then Emily is going to take over and she's going to do slides 16 through 30, and then you're going to see me back doing slides 31 through 48. So actually this video is really going to be in 3 videos. Each are going to be anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes long. So hopefully you'll enjoy it, but more importantly, hopefully you'll learn something. So without further ado, let's get into supply chain management.
And welcome to Chapter 13, Supply Chain Management and Marketing Channels. This is going to be the first of your many asynchronous online lectures. Hopefully you will enjoy it. What we're going to try to do is we're going to try to keep them to 15 minutes, and we're going to break the chapters up into chunks. That way we're not killing you with hour and a half lectures and things like that. So today's lecture on supply chain, as you can all read, here is the definition of supply chain. What you need to think about is all of the raw materials, all of the services, everything that needs to get to make a product and get that product to the customer. So supply chain doesn't only just start with raw materials. Once a product is made, we have the supply chain to get that product to the customer. So it's information, it's raw materials, it's all of the flow of products. Supply chain management is just that. It's managing everything. Supply chain managers manage everything from raw materials all the way through production inventory, all the way to distribution. And then usually a distribution manager manages it from distribution into what we would call the end user. Supply chain agility is an operational strategy focused on making supply chain as agile or as flexible as possible and taking as much cost out of supply chain as we can. One of the reasons that I'm not a big supply chain guy is because supply chain is all about understanding supply chains and taking costs out of them. Me, I'd rather be out with customers than chasing a nickel around the shop floor, but again, that's just me. So benefits of effective supply chain management, there's really only one, and that is lower cost products and lower cost distribution to the customer. The secondary one is if you have a good supply chain, then you can get to the products to the customer quicker and the customer's happy. It builds CRM. The best example of supply chain management is Amazon. You click on Amazon Prime, you're going to get it in 2 days. And what's really crazy about that is a lot of those products Amazon doesn't even stock. They're coming from a third-party supplier. So now the Amazon's got to communicate with that third-party supplier, and they've got to get it to you within 2 days, or you're unhappy. Amazon builds CRM that way. So it's value to customers, and it's also lower cost to the customers. So supply chain orientation means that a customer is really oriented towards supply chain. Best example again is Amazon. They are a systems thinker. Amazon, their competitive advantage, other than the fact of CRM, that's one of them, but the other one is what we call operational excellence. They crush that supply chain like it's going out of style. The other one that builds their fortune, builds their empire on supply chain management is Walmart. Walmart does a great job of supply chain management, getting raw materials, getting products, getting things stocked on the shelf with not a lot of inventory so they can offer always the lowest price. Supply chain integration is a term we use when suppliers are integrated with their customers. So that means that all systems are integrated. From the raw material to the manufacturer to the distributor to the end retailer or wholesaler, all of those are integrated. Their computers are talking to one another, so when something is needed, they can get it to them as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So, leading supply chain firms, if you think about Amazon, if you think about Walmart, they're credible. People believe that they're going to get what they get. They're also honest. You may not like Walmart, but they're honest with their suppliers. They tell them this is the way we're going to do business. They have benevolence. They have support from top management, and they concentrate on supply chain. They're very efficient in the way they conduct and direct their supply chain activity, and they're talking about taking costs out of the business and getting products and raw materials to the customers from the suppliers in a lot quicker mode. And if you think about Amazon, Amazon is a case study in operational excellence and supply chain management. So types of internal supply chain integration, that's when one department talks to another. Oftentimes you'll have, let's say a paper mill for instance. A paper mill owns the forest, they own the paper slurry, they own the paper manufacturing, they own the paper slitting or cutting into 8.5 by 11, and oftentimes they own the distribution system. So all of that is integrated within one company. That might be Georgia Pacific. So internal supply chain integration is just that. They're integrating department upon department, function upon function to make sure that they get that as efficiently as possible. I mean, think about paper. Paper is very expensive, so it's very hard to ship, very expensive to ship, but it's a very cheap product. Paper is really cheap. So you've got to try to crush that supply chain and make it as integrated as possible in order for you to do better with your supply chain. And of course it enhances customer relationship or CRM. Relationship integration is just that. It's having a relationship with your customers. Amazon, again, has a relationship with their customers. They talk about what they bought in the past, how much they bought in the past, why they bought it in the past, and what other people that are like them have bought. So relationship integration is when two companies develop a social connection and a social relationship in order to help one another. Measurement integration is when each one gives people performance metrics or performance assessments and holds those people to performance assessments to ensure that they are taking costs out of supply chain. Technology and planning integration is just that. I described that with computer systems. When you have suppliers technologically integrated with customers, and then those customers integrated with their customers all the way to the final distribution. And then, of course, material and service supplier integration. That's when you have vertical integration, like when Georgia Pacific, who owns the paper mill, vertically integrates and buys the forest so that they can cut down the trees in addition to that. And then finally, the last one would be customer integration. Customer integration is actually when you share some customers. I had an example with when I worked for Xerox. We sold paper, and our supplier was the person that supplied the paper to us, but we never took title to the goods. Our supplier simply, we would get an order, our supplier would simply send the order directly to the customer, so we never had to touch it. That way we took costs out of the business. So when a customer would order product from us, that would go into our system, it would also go into our supplier's system, and the supplier would ship it right to the customer. That's called customer integration. So organizing success and success in supply chain really means being both internally and externally in sync with one another. So key processes in supply chain management, we talked about CRM. CRM is absolutely important. Customer service, we talked about customer service with Amazon getting it to there. Demand management is a term that we're going to talk about. Order fulfillment, we're going to talk about that. Manufacturing flow, supplier relationship, almost back to CRM, customer relationship, product development, and returns management. We're going to talk about each one of those. Customer relationship management is just that. It allows customers to build a bond with the supplier. It allows them to integrate. It allows them to build trust. And it also, when you integrate customer relationship, you have a customer for life. And you can gain share with that customer. You can each take costs out of the business to give their customers a better deal. So the CRM process really includes customer segmentation and customer trust. The next thing we're going to talk about is customer service management. Having a good customer service department, and I think that's one of the ways that Amazon falls down. I don't think their customer service is so good because it's hard to talk to a person. But having a customer service management integration with your supplier means that when the customer returns it, you can get it right with your supplier if there's a defect or a flaw so that the supplier can fix it. You'll oftentimes buy a product and it says, don't return this to the store, return this to blah, 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 blah. That's customer service management, and that's the relationship that the supplier or the store has with the supplier, so that when you send it back, you're not sending it back to the store, you're sending it back right to the manufacturer, and they are servicing it for you. It has a strong impact on revenues, it takes costs out of the business, and it really helps out. Demand management is just that, understanding the demand so that you know how many products to shelf. I mean, who would know that we were all going to run out of toilet paper? Of course, I think the whole world has gone insane. But had we known that there was going to be a run on toilet paper, they would have made more of it. So demand management is just that. It's trying to understand the demand of your customers so that you have enough, but not too much. Remember, inventory is expensive, so you want to have just enough for demand management, but not too much. If you don't have enough, then you run out. If you have too much, then you're carrying inventory. Demand management is very difficult because it's extraordinarily hard to predict. As you could probably well imagine, no one could predict that March 13th, 2020, we would have a run on toilet paper, bleach, and disinfecting products. But that was all because of an environmental impact called the coronavirus. And then finally, order fulfillment is exactly what Amazon does. You place that order, they fulfill it within 2 days, and they get it to you within 2 days. It's a highly integrated process. It requires a lot of technological advances and multiple companies to function together. Remember what I said about Amazon. Some of those products from Amazon, aren't even delivered by Amazon. They're from a third party. So order fulfillment really takes a lot of it. All right, with that, Emily is going to be back with slides 16 through 30, and then I'll be back with slides 31 through 48. And with that, I will talk to you later.